المعصومين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي أما بعد السلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
I thought today we could look at some of the writings which we can find in the Voice of Human Justice, written by George Jordan, Lebanon. In his foreword, he begins with the ayah of the Quran from chapter 16, verse 125. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. ادع إلى سبيل ربك بالحكمة والموعظة الحسنة وجادلهم بالتي هي أحسن إن ربك هو أعلم بمن ضل عن سبيله وهو أعلم بالمهتدين. Call unto the way of your Lord with wisdom and good exhortation, and reason with them in the best way. Lo, your Lord best knows those who go astray from his path, and he knows best those who are rightly guided. Inshallah, today we will hear some beautiful attributes or merits of Imam Ali alayhi salam, as explained or expressed by this author. I have selected a few, and inshallah within the limited time we can try and learn a few things. He writes, amongst the great personalities of the world, Ali was foremost in the matter of love and sincerity. Sincerity was his habit and nature, and his heart and soul were imbued with it. He loved the people, but did not associate love with his own self. He kept his promises. Sincerity was the essence of his being. By his natural and profound intelligence, he found out that freedom is the most sacred thing. The entire world craves for it and does not consider any other blessing to be equal to it. Only the free persons possess power of correct thinking and good habits, and true love and pure sincerity are also not possible without freedom. He used to utter this eloquent sentence, should I content myself with this, that people call me the commander of the faithful, and I should not share the hardships of life with them? Justice was a part of his soul and was ingrained in his heart, and it had combined other virtues also with itself. A group of persons went to the extreme in the matter of love for him. Thereupon he said, persons of two kinds get involved in destruction in connection with me. One, the friends who went to the extreme, and second, the spiteful enemies. Some people were inimical to him, they harmed and slandered him and rose in opposition to him. In spite of this, he used to say, punish your brother with goodness, and improve his nature with prizes and honors. Ali also said, your brother is not more powerful than you in breaking the bonds of love and friendship, provided that you try to cement them, and is not quicker than you in doing harm if you behave well with him. Once the blessings of the world were being discussed in his presence, Ali said, out of the worldly blessings, good morals are sufficient blessings. Mawla advises to lack friends is tantamount to poverty. Do not express joy on the adversity of others. Bring people nearer to you by means of gentleness and munificence. Forgive one who oppresses you. Do not deprive of your munificence a person who deprives you of his wealth. Establish new relations with the person who cuts off his relations with you, and be friendly towards one who is inimical towards you. He sacrifices life for the sake of truth and reality. When we look at his attributes again, Ali was well known for his piety and continence. He did many things for his own self as well as for his own people and others, as he was extremely pious. According to Ali, the essence of piety is to sacrifice one's life for the sake of truth and justice. He has said, your faith should be at such a level that you should prefer truth to falsehood, even though it may cause you loss and falsehood may bring you gain. The following remark of Ali is very instructive for those who worship God and observe piety. One group worships God to be favored with his blessings. This is the worship of the tradesman. Another group worships him, it's Allah, on account of his fear. This is the worship of the slaves. A third group worships him by way of thanksgiving. This is the worship of the free man. The basis of his worship was reason, conscious, and spiritual perfection. He was true in the matter of piety in the same way in which he was true in the matter of his actions, words, and intentions. He was disinclined towards the pleasures of life in the same way in which he was disinterested in rulership and other things which were so much coveted by others. The manner in which Ali led his life is reflected in his well-known remark, should I content myself with these, that the people call me the commander of the faithful, and I should not share the vicissitudes of life with them? Sallallahu To shun cruelty and oppression was a moral principle of Ali and formed part of his nature and disposition. He never broke covenants and was not inimical towards his former friends unless they themselves broke the covenants and showed enmity in reply to kindness. Imam Ali has been reported to have said, even if all the 7 regions of the world and whatever is under the sky is offered to me, so that I may disobey God and take away unjustly the husk of barley from an ant, I shall not do so. In my eyes, this entire world is inferior to a leaf which may be pressed in the mouth of a locust. In this matter, Ali's words and actions conformed with each other. Ali was more kind to the people than anyone else and refrained from harming any person. His entire life was dedicated to the support of the oppressed and the helpless, so that he might realize their rights from the tyrants who considered themselves entitled to usurp the rights of others on account of noble descent and racial discrimination. Sincerity and bravery are the qualities of great men, and they were possessed by Ali par excellence. Sincerity, truthfulness, bravery, and manliness, and all other similar qualities are interconnected. Hence, he did not express anything which was opposed to his real intention and determination. He did not practice deceit, although he knew very well that by doing so he could get rid of the mischief of the enemies. One of his principles and morals consisted of simplicity in everything. He hated formality very much and used to say, "The worse brother is he for whom one has to involve oneself in trouble." He also used to say, if a believer observes formality with his brother, it means that he has separated himself from him. Ali hated pride and was absolutely free from egotism. Another attribute of Ali was his noble disposition. He did not entertain grudge in his heart against anybody, even though he might be his fell enemy. Nothing can be seen in the biography of Ali which may go to show that he was revengeful. In all circumstances he showed truthfulness, honesty, straightforwardness, and swordsmanship. When we look at his knowledge, where the Holy Prophet has said, "I am the city of knowledge," and Ali is its gate, Ali excelled all other persons of his time in matters of law because he knew the Quran and religious rules and regulations better than all others, and in Islam, correct judgments depend on these two things. He possessed such intelligence, wisdom, and power of thinking that in the event of dispute he could give the most rational judgment. His conscience was so strong that he was capable of giving a conscientious and just decision after examining and understanding various aspects of a matter. In terms of the human rights as well, Mulla explained and guided and fought for justice and human rights. Talking on piety, Mulla explains further. He says the essence of piety has been mentioned in the Quran in two sentences. Almighty God has said, "You may not grieve for what you have missed, nor rejoice in what God has given you." By following this verse, one attains perfect piety. Imam Ali says piety in the world means diminishing one's desire, thanking God for his blessings, and abstaining from things made unlawful by God. Ali says piety in the world does not mean that property should be destroyed or lawful things should be treated to be unlawful. On the contrary, it means that you should not depend more on the worldly things which you possess as compared with that which is with God. Ali also says, if one acquires possession of everything on earth, and his object by doing so is to acquire the pleasure of God, he is a pious person. And if he forsakes the entire world, but his object in doing so is not divine pleasure, he is not pious. Someone asked Imam Ali, what is piety? He replied, to avoid unlawful things of the world. In short, the goodness or badness of worldly things depends on one's intention. If the intention is good and the worldly things are acquired to serve as means of happiness in the hereafter, one's action is praiseworthy, otherwise it deserves to be condemned. Although Ali was a great spiritual person whose attention was always directed towards God, there did not pass even a day when he might have been unmindful of the affairs of the people, or might have ignored even their most trivial matters because he considered man to be the best specimen of the most excellent creation. One day the commander of the faithful paid a visit to one of his companions named Allah, son of Ziyad Harasi. When he saw how spacious his house was, he said to him, of what use to you is the spaciousness of this house in this world? When you stand more in need of a spacious house in the hereafter, when you have to live eternally, of course, if you also desire a spacious house in the hereafter, you should entertain guests in this house, behave well with your kinsmen, and pay the rights of others on appropriate occasions. If you do so, you will be successful in the next world. While explaining the importance of fasting and prayers, he said to Kumail, son of Ziyad, O Kumail, it is not important that you should offer prayers, observe fasts, and pay zakat. What is important is that you should offer prayers with a pure heart and in accordance with the desire of God. Even before the hereafter, he was so anxious about the life of the people in this world that in spite of his being the caliph, he went to the bazaars of Kufa as a matter of daily routine, stopped at every shop and said, O merchants, fear God, seek proximity to the customers, adorn yourself with the forbearance, don't swear, don't tell lies, avoid injustice, be just to the oppressed, and weigh and measure properly. Don't give the people lesser than their due. Don't spread corruption in the world. Now, Bukhari has been reported to have said, I went and saw the commander of the faithful in the masjid of Kufa. I saluted him and he replied to the salutation. I said, O commander of the faithful, give me a piece of advice. He said, be good to the people and God will do good to you. I requested him to say something more. He said, no, if you wish to be with me on the day of judgment, you must not help the oppressors. In short, the central point of the policy of Ali was service of mankind, meeting their needs and elimination of injustice. Once the Prophet looked at him and said, O Ali, God has adorned you with an adornment which is the best adornment in His eyes. He has endowed you with love for the weak. May it be pleasing to you that they should be your followers and happy and satisfied on account of your being their Imam. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam.